It's 5 and we're live. What are you going to do? Why, on Tuesday at 5, you break on through? Or maybe 4 where you're at, or 3, or 2. You may be watching me on the replay after the live broadcast. I wish you could watch us on YouTube. But I don't know if the Minister of Propaganda has gotten that issue squared away yet. I guess we'll find out soon. A little lonely here in the BOT studios without my pal George South. Man, we had fun last week. That was a great show. Thank you all for tuning in. And we're going to have him back again soon. It's just too good a time with George South. So, thank you, David. Yeah, George was a lot of fun, man. And he enjoyed being here, too. So, you see, I showed you this at the beginning. You see what I have in my hand? This is the Great Disasters CD. Look what else I got in my hand. But that is only a record cover. It's not no record inside of it. But everything that comes with it, except for the vinyl sticker, original artwork from long-haired weirdo recording artist Callie Hellstrom, will come in this, along with one of 3 different color variants. Hey, JD, how's it going, man? I ain't seen you in a while. Radiation Sunburst, Mothman Larva Goo Green, which will only be 100 pressed of those, and Basic Black. I can show you the rest of the cover. I can show you the inside, the back, the inner sleeve. Do you want to see it? Or would you rather wait until you have it in your very own hands? As I've been known to say on here a time or two, you got to tell me something. Let me know. Say, if you want to see it all, say, show it all. But if you'd rather wait, just type, nah. That's N-A-W, by the way. Walt Wheat just chimed in. Walt Wheat is, of course, the guitarist on this. He says make y'all wait, but I'm seeing the people are talking. I had one wait. Majority so far are saying show it all. I'm gonna wait and see what y'all say. I'm gonna talk about some other stuff in the meantime. Oh, man, I got a lot to talk about. I got a top 10 today. I haven't done a top 10 in quite some time, I don't think. Still got the reissue of Here to Ruin Your Groove 2 record set with a poster, a CD of the entire LP, gatefold sleeve, sticker. People said, man, this you can tell whoever designed all this, put all this together, grew up being a Kiss fan. Well, that would be true. buying a record should be something more than seeing a stork standing in a pond with some cursive writing on it. And the song title is this big on the back with like a gray sky or something. Oh yeah, that's excitement. That's excitement in droves right there. Sure. All right, groove. I'm gonna tell you, Great Disaster will be on sale. The CD and the LP, you'll be able to get it. JD just said something really brilliant. Let me see what he said. Do a top 10 times through the years that pissed you off the most. You mean related to the band? Or just life in general? I better stick to the band. But, yeah, I'll do that one day. Top 10 PO'd moments. How's that sound? Top 10 PO'd moments where I showed my ass. I can guarantee you, a lot of those times probably started with, damn, Clayton, man, I ain't seen you since 1996, man. How about sliding me on that guest list for the 40-year guest list? Oh, you're on a list. You are on a list. I can promise you that. Guest? I probably not. But what I wanted to say about August 1st when Great Disaster goes on sale. When I'm telling you, we all know that Eastern Standard Time is the real time for the entire world. So when it turns August 1st, which is 12:01 a.m., p.m., a.m. I'm going to set my clock. You know, I'm working class. I'll be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning anyway, but I'm going to set my phone to wake me up at 1 minute until midnight. And I'm going to make that LP and that CD live at midnight, August 1st. Now, all this is provided that I actually don't sleep through all this. But that's the story. You will be pleased to know that there will be a brand new release that will go on sale tomorrow. On our Big Cartel store page. Does anybody still look at the website? Website's got show dates. There's no show dates now except for the anniversary show, but let's see what is happening here. Oh, Jim, yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. Now I forgot what I was talking about. Man, this is one of the worst days I had at the job in years. It was a tough day today. And I am wore out. I feel like my insides have been microwaved. But I'm replenishing with some good old Break On Through brew. George Sal says it's good. You know it's got to be good. Oh, well. Must not have been that important. Don't forget, long-haired weirdo. Oh, yeah. I was talking about the new thing that's going to go on sale tomorrow. Now, it's a TPOS release. You all know that Malcolm Tent is the Mang, the head honcho at TPOS Records. And he's been putting out a line of CDs lately. He's the one that got me started considering the CD option, especially for long-haired weirdo. But we're going to start it back with ANTiSEEN too. Death Train Records, Death Train Music is going to be back in action with CD versions of a lot of the titles that maybe are not on CD anymore. And maybe there will be a few that they will only be released on CD. Yeah, Malcolm Tent. But there is going to be a brand new release that it will be on sale on my page, because I'll be the only one that has it. It is Murder Junkies Live 2003. Do you know who their singer was in 2003? Why, it was little old me. And Malcolm recorded us the last night of our tour. And man, I gotta admit, he caught. There's a few things I gotta admit here. When I get CDs or tapes or whatever, or some of our live shows, man, it takes me forever to listen to them. I'm just like, I did it. I know how great it was. I don't need to relive it. But and he's like, damn, you mofo. But he caught us on. It was the last show of the tour, man. We were on fire that night. Yeah, there were some screw ups, some flub ups and stuff, but man, we were going for what we knew. It was the last show. There was like nothing to lose at that point. But I remember it being a fun show. But now, and if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think I am, this is the first thing to ever be released of the Murder Junkies that features me. And I did 2 tours with them, but I never did any recordings. I regretted not doing any recordings with them. I wish I would have been on at least a single or EP or something. But through the magic of knowing that we have 3 different labels, meaning TKO, TPOS, Long-Haired Weirdo, Death Train Music. There's 4 labels. We got 4 labels that all this stuff is going to see the light of day one day. And we may be working with other labels too, like, I don't know, Missing Fink Records. But that is going to go on sale right here tomorrow. All I got to do is make sure they arrive, and I'll sell them. But I got to warn you about something. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Thursday morning, I'll be flying up to see my daughter, my son-in-law, and my little bitty granddaughter, Winter. And I'll be there till the end of the weekend. But I will mail everybody's out as soon as I get back on Monday. And something else I gotta tell you. There's only 100 of these things. Only 100. And my cut is only 25. So I gotta keep track of this, man. And they will be individually numbered by me. All 100, I will number them all. You'll be able to get them from me first. Second, probably from Merle himself. And when he gets off of his Profanatica tour, you'll be able to get them from Malcolm Tent. Needless to say, if you want this thing signed, all you have to do is say it in a note in the Big Cartel store. And I know some of you are just like, yeah, I done seen how you do that note in the big cartel store because I've missed a few times. But man, I'm getting better at this. I'm learning something every day. Believe you me. But the next long-haired weirdo release is going to be the best of a fine stew, best of self-made monsters so far. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great one. Can you dig it? All right. I got a few things to announce and talk to you about, but I'm going to go ahead and get on with this top 10 because, man, I just did a 16-minute infomercial. So I need to start talking about some stuff. Now, this is, I'm still going from what, an idea that Brad Mullins gave me for top 10s. And that was work class. That was top 10 guitarist, bassist, and now I'm going to go to the next instrument on any rock and roll stage, drummers. And most of you that have been listening to me now for what, a little over 3 years, you'll probably be able to guess most of these, but I'm going to tell you something. As far as going from 10 to 1, the name that's at number 1 is not necessarily my number 1. And my number 10 is not necessarily my number 10. I'm just going to put these all out there and give you a little reason as to why they're some of my favorites, which I guess it'll be obvious. But this is just in the realm of rock and roll. And Jim Earnhardt wants to know about Neil Peart. Neil Peart is an excellent drummer, but not one of my favorites. The prog rock stuff is not what makes any top 10s or even 50s for me a lot. But without further ado, this band's had some good drummers. They've had some great drummers. But there was one that was just amazing, in my opinion. And that's when Phil Taylor played in Motorhead. And judging from things I've seen about him, I'm sure he was a royal pain in the ass to have in a band. And I've had a few of those. But on stage, man, he delivered. In the studio, he delivered. I think some of his best moments were the entire Ace of Spades album. Number 9. Topper Headon from The Clash. Headon. Topper from The Clash. To me, his finest moments were Give Him Enough Rope. This song's very drum-driven. Mark, I do like Terry Bozzio. But I kind of consider Terry Bozzio, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, a lot of the Zappa stuff is, it leans into jazz and stuff like that. And that's where I would personally put Terry Bozzio. When I'm talking rocking, you know, like Brad Mullen said, you know, when you do these top 10s, you know, I want to know what your favorites are in rock and roll. So I'm trying to keep it to that. Number 8, And I got to see this guy in person once, but it was not with the band that he is known for. But I saw Clem Burke playing with Iggy Pop. Must have been sometime around 1980, 81. Party album tour. It's always been a fantastic drummer. Other than Debbie herself, one of the strongest members of the band, in my opinion. Number 6 and 7, you could switch. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and just say it the way I got it written. Number 7, Paul Cook of the Sex Pistols. Now, I've had the pleasure of seeing him play up close and personal when he was with the Professionals. And it was only about a year or two after the Sex Pistols. Well, the Sex Pistols break up over here in 78. I guess I saw the Professionals in 80 or 81. And I was standing not very far from him. Man, you know what? When you start talking rock and roll drummers, there's so many good ones. But I'm just telling you the ones that are my favorites. Like, I saw someone mention Carmine Appice. Vinny Appice is great too. But I think you'll see where I'm going with all this as far as my favorite. You know what I like, man? It's like, I was reading in the Little Richard, one of the Little Richard, Life and Times of Little Richard, about when he was looking for a drummer in the 70s. And it was getting harder and harder for them to find someone that just played a 4/4 beat. Everyone was wanting to show off. And Little Richard's music allows no room for the drummer to show off. And that's why in my top 10 drummers in rock and roll, number 6, from the land down under, the great Phil Rudd. Number 5 and number 4. These guys are in the same band. I like them for the same reasons. That hard driving. One of them was hard driving. One of them was kind of had a light touch, but it was what that band needed at the time, and it set the precedent for them pretty much forever. And number 5 would be Marky Ramone, and number 4 would be Tommy Ramone. I saw someone mention Keith Moon, and Keith Moon is amazing. Was amazing. But as far as drummers, man, I think he only worked for The Who. You know what I mean? That's another one. Man, drummers are difficult people. Not all, but a lot of them. You're going to say, well, Dan, how does that figure into the damn ANTiSEEN camp? Well, I'm going to talk about that when I get done with this top 10 list right here. But I bet y'all can't even guess my number 3, 2, and 1. Well, you can probably guess who I got for number 1. I see Jim Earnhardt. You just threw in a damn wild card that I forgot about, and that would be Tommy Aldridge. Tommy Aldridge is one of the man. I don't know. I would have to bump somebody for Tom. I'm going to write Tommy Aldridge on my list. If I make a list on on Facebook, I'm probably going to have to bump somebody and put Tommy Aldridge in there. I don't know. I guess it might be Tommy Ramone that gets bumped for that. Yeah, Tommy set the standard. But, man, I think Markey was the best. You know what I mean? Number 3. You can listen to any of the records by this band that he played on, which I think was every damn one of them. It just, you could tell. My number 3 is Brian Downey from Thin Lizzy. Number 2, one of my favorite bands of all time. It's not a crime. The only crime is that I think every single one of these guys in this band, with the exception of the lead singer, were some of the most underrated musicians, underappreciated. Now, the fans of this band know how great these guys are. But I think they get left out in a lot of talks about the best. Number 2 would be from the Alice Cooper group, Neil Smith. And see, there's some other great drummers that people are mentioning. Ian Pace, Scott Ashton, great drummers too. I guess I should have done a top 20. But these are just the ones that came to, when I do these top 10s, I get the thing that pops in my head first. Because I think I'm being the most honest with it when I do that. Not sitting around trying to think it. Like a ton of people said Bill Ward. Bill Ward was a great drummer. But it's just not in my top 10. It would be in my top 20. But number 1, and I'm going to tell you right now, as much as I can't stand to hear about this son of a bitch, I'd have kicked him out of my band the first time he pulled some of his bullshit. But his former bandmates try to run him down and say he was not all that he thought he was. But I have to say, in my humble opinion, and I'm on the outside looking in. I know when you're on the inside with somebody that grates on your last nerve, man, it's kind of hard to see them for the talented person they are sometimes. But I'm telling you right now, and they said, oh, we want a heavy hitter. We wanted a heavy hitter like John Bonham. If you had that, you would have never been the band that you were. Because when you were Kiss and you had Peter Criss, you had a drummer that played with swing. And it made your songs really rock and roll. And John Bonham, drummers like John Bonham were not commonplace when John Bonham was doing it. John Bonham was like guy in a class all by himself. I see. I also like guys like Charlie Watts and the guys that laid the groundwork for it. But that's my top 10. I think. Yeah, I'm happy with that top 10. Tommy Aldridge has got to be in there somewhere, though. I just, Peter Criss had groove. He had a groove. I mean, Joey Kramer from Aerosmith was like a funk drummer almost playing for the. That's why their songs had a groove and a swing to them. Now, in the ANTiSEEN camp, I'm going to tell you what, I have had the enormous pleasure of playing with some good drummers. But I also had the great pleasure of playing with 3 great drummers. And if we weren't just talking about, music that you listen to growing up, and we're just saying drummers in particular, all 3 of these guys would be in this list. Now, what order I would put them in, I'm not going to do that because I don't know, really, because all 3 guys had their own particular style, and I loved it. And when these guys left, man, I was just like, wow, it's going to be tough replacing these fellas. But luckily, I've got to play with all 3 of them again, and 2 of them even rejoined. And you're right, Brandon. One of those is the goddamn professional Sir Barry Hannibal. Man, I'm gonna tell you, I liked having him out on the front line on the bass. I did. It was the first time I ever saw Barry play. He was playing bass. He was playing bass for Bloody Mary, and I don't know if you know, I've mentioned it before, but Joe and I were always watching bands and saying, finding a guy from the band. Man, I guess I'll be honest with you, I still do it to a degree. That's a good drummer. But see, we saw Barry as a bass player, and it never came up that we needed a bass player. But we lost a drummer, a very integral part of ANTiSEEN, and we had to find somebody that was going to fill those shoes. And in my opinion, they were big shoes, but they were filled proper. We held auditions, and I'm telling you, if it hadn't been for this guy, Sir Barry Hannibal, just coming in and knocking it out of the park right from the get-go, we would have given our old pal from the Triangle area, John McClain, would have had the job. But John McClain was known to have played in a bunch of bands, and he lived 3 hours away. He was once a Charlotte native, but he was 3 hours away. And Barry was close, and he just blew us away when he played drums. I'd never heard him play drums till he auditioned for us. I mean, like, we did. I think we gave everybody like a list of 5 songs to play, different stuff from our catalog. And I don't think we were even finished with the second one till me and Tom and Joe were looking at each other like, yep. The guy I replaced, not only because he's my brother, but he is one of the best drummers I have ever played with. I played with him in Judas Bullethead, driving and crying. Even asked him to play. My brother's been in dozens and dozens of bands. I'm talking about the one and the only Greg Clayton, the drummer on Eat More Possum and several singles. But I'm going to tell you, I think Barry and Greg both would say that their favorite drummer in ANTiSEEN was the man himself, the living legend on drums, the one and the only Doug Throgmorton. watching him play, just at practice, was incredible. And any chance we ever got to play with him again, I really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, the rest of the, I mean, we had good drummers. We had to have a good drummer. We couldn't have a slouchy drummer. Now, me and some of the members, we can get into arguments and debate as to who was the best, who was good, who was passable. But you know what? I'm not even going to go into that. I know y'all are like, damn, man, why don't you name some names there, Jeff Clayton? But I don't know. I don't want to get into that. A drummer we had named Brian, that people knew him as the Gooch, he was a good showman. But trying to record that guy, that's all I'll say about that. But Teeter, Keller, and Sadler, all really good drummers. Real steady, real, you know. That's not every drummer we ever had, but yeah. What am I going to do about that? So, my main Callie Hellstrom, now he got a little bit of a break, a little bit of a break. And they got a month extension into place they're in. Their GoFundMe is still up. And here's the thing though, man. They got this thing going in California. Now I haven't looked for, like whenever I need a place, man, I go to a place. I mean, you know, I can get a place. But California seems like it makes things really hard. I mean, they charge them like $50 per person just to fill out an application. And then they don't tell them they've been denied. A lot of the money that this community has raised for Callie and his family has been going to paying off these damn fees. Jeff Henry, I'm going to get to that right in a minute. So they've got a little bit of grace period before they actually have to be out of the premises. But if you can still contribute, folks, please do whatever you can. They just need help, man. They got one income in the family. Callie is disabled, but you know, once they do find a place, then you know what that entails. First month's rent, last month's rent. I guess deposits or utilities just switch over. I guess I don't know, man. It's been so long since. Well, I've been here. I've been in this house now like 8-9 years. I don't think about that shit anymore. But if you can, please help Callie and his family. I'll post the link to the GoFundMe in the title heading of this episode. Somebody's writing something good, but I'm just going to look at it in a minute. Someone just asked, did we ever get a drummer for the Jeff Clayton Experience? But it is the Jeff Clayton Dimension. And yes, we did. A fella named Brandon Helms. Now, we have not had a proper practice yet, but because I'm telling you right now, man, getting 5 grown men with jobs and responsibilities, other bands and everything, to find the time to actually get together and do something is difficult. It is really difficult. But Dave Wynkoop, he's the bass player for the Dimension, being the consummate professional, has already recorded the drum tracks for the Jeff Clayton Dimension single with Brandon. So, man, we're going to go ahead and start recording all this stuff. First thing we plan on doing is we plan on a single. It might be an EP. Who knows? But you are going to dig it, I can promise you. I hate that it ever had to get derailed. It got derailed because of a drummer. Oh, yeah. Now, you talking about Chuck. Are you talking about Black Flag drummers? Because I'm going to tell you, Chuck Biscuits had to be in here too. Good. Man, I should have done a top 20. Chuck Biscuits is one of the most amazing drummers I ever seen in my life. I don't know why I forgot. I guess when I think about the punk rock groups that were slightly before us, and we play with them and even know some of them, and I kind of see that as contemporaries. But that stuff did play a big influence on what I would end up doing later. Yeah, Robo was good. I think he was wasted his talents in the Misfits, but y'all know how I feel about that. What's it going to be? You can tell already it is a gate fold. Well, before I do the big reveal, I would like to thank you all for coming and spending a little bit of time with me today. Please, fellas and ladies, send me ideas for top 10s, for topics. Now, JD gave me a damn good top 10 PO'd moments. I think that's going to be on the next episode. I had to stop and think. I had to ask some people. Ooh, I've had some good ones. I've had some damn good ones. Most of them involve sound men. But yeah, I don't know. I might bring a guest on that can relay some of these, and maybe tell it like it is. Because when you talk about yourself, maybe you kind of pull the reins back a little bit on the details. But I'll get somebody here that'll let it fly. Tomorrow, Murder Junkies Live 2003, and unless something happens and I don't have them in my hand, it'll be on sale on Big Cartel Store. As soon as I see that box show up and I open them up, and looking like everything's cool, that thing's going on sale. August 1st. Great Disasters will be live. Look at this great inside